Hey guys, long time no see. Not really, I just like saying that. Hopefully you guys have a better feel for Google Analytics now and you've been able to poke around and find stuff out about your own website. As I said at the end of the last lecture, this lecture is going to be all about goals, setting them up and then understanding how to use them effectively. So let's get our goals on. Okay, so we'll start here on the audience overview page because, as I said in the last lecture, this is where Google Analytics always starts you. This time we're going to go head up to the administration tab. Here we see three sections. We have account, property, and view. We're looking for goals, which is right here in the view section. Now click on that and you can see my laziness in all its official glory since I don't actually have any goals set up. At this point, it should be fairly obvious what the next step is since there's a bright red button right here that says new goal. Now we're on the goal setup screen and Google gives us a bunch of template options in 4 categories: revenue, acquisition, inquiry, engagement. There's also a custom option towards the bottom if you need it, but most common goal types are going to be in this template section. Now goals don't make a ton of sense for 25 days of ideas, unless maybe we're doing like media plays in the engagement category, which tell me when people play my videos. But I already have that set up because Wistia tells me when people play my videos. Also, I did this for fun, so I wasn't really trying to track where my best sources were coming from and how many people converted. So instead, let's pretend I'm selling some sort of product, since that's probably what most of you will be doing with your business. So under revenue, I'll click on place an order and scroll down and click continue. That takes us to the second step in the setup process, which is goal description. We can name this whatever we want, so let's pretend I'm Carl and I'm setting up a goal for tracking the sales of my Sweet Sweet Cream Puffs. I'm going to leave destination picked here under type, because in the next section, I'll type in the URL where users will end up after they complete their purchase. This is important because it'll essentially represent a sale of the product because it means they got past the checkout page. We'll click continue and we are on to the last step, goal details. Now, this is where you plug in the URL where your users end up after they complete their purchase, like I just mentioned. I recommend assigning a value to each order because that will help us later on when we talk about things like running ads, because it'll allow you to determine whether or not these ads are at the end of the day profitable. Now, lastly, we could create a funnel, which is basically a series of web pages on your site that your customers have to go through in order to place your order. This could look something like a product page, then a view cart page, and a checkout page, then let's say like a thank you for your order page, or whatever makes sense for your site. You can add as many steps or pages as needed. Now, I highly recommend that you do take some time and set up your funnel. And this is something that marketers for some reason refer to as instrumenting your funnel. Now, why should you instrument your funnel? Well, because then you'll be able to see how many users get through each step. And why might that be important? Well, let's use Carl's Cream Puffs as an example one last time to illustrate why. Let's say Carl has his site set up like the funnels example I just gave. So his customers go to the product page for his cream puffs, that's step 1 in the funnel. Then after they click the add to cart button, they click on the view cart button, which puts them on the view cart page, that's step 2. Let's say 25% of the people who started at step 1 ended up clicking through to step 2. Now, some of those people are ready to buy Carl's Cream Puffs, so they click checkout, which puts them on the next checkout page, which is step 3. Let's say maybe only another 10% of people actually get from step 2 to step 3. After some of these people put in their payment info, they click order, end up on the thank you page, which is the final step in the funnel. And let's say 50% of people go from step 3 to the final step. Now let's just do that math really quickly. Carry the 1. That means that Carl has an overall conversion rate of 1.25% from step 1 to the final step. How I got to that, guys, you just multiply them all together. Yes, I know, that was a mouthful. Anyway, now with this funnel instrumented, well, Carl doesn't have to actually do the math, and Google will give him an easy way to see how each step is performing. And now most importantly though, he can make changes to his site in the future, let it run for a while, and then see what kind of effect those changes have on his funnel. Also, it's incredibly useful for troubleshooting because it might turn out that you have an abnormal drop off in one stage. Therefore, you should focus your effort on fixing that page. And that's pretty much it for setting up goals. One quick thing you should know about it is when you set up a new goal, it'll only track data after you set it up. In other words, Google won't display any past information, even though they know the information and have access to it. That drives me crazy. But of course, you can't really complain too much because Google Analytics is free. Okay guys, off to the last lecture in this section. I will see you then.